of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will you join me in prayer, please? Supreme Architect of the universe, we invoke thy blessing at this time. Gentlemen, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes of our February 6, 2014 minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Brody, seconded by Commissioner Valentine. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Gentlemen, number one, we have a proclamation today, and I understand that Miss Diane Morgan is here. Diane, would you like to come up, please? Now, gentlemen, March 2014 is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, and Miss Morgan is from the Allegany County Health Department. And please, the podium and mic is yours.
I'm here to talk about something no one ever wants to talk about. When I took this job, you all know my husband, he said, I'll give you about 2 weeks because who are you going to talk in to have a colonoscopy? Nobody wants to have one. In efforts to raise awareness, the colon cancer has been encouraged to make a Dress in Blue Day. It's always the first Friday of March. We want people to wear blue as people wear pink for breast cancer awareness. Regular colon cancer screening is one of the most powerful tools that you can do to prevent colon cancer. It affects both men and women equally. It's no respecter of persons. It has nothing to do with your background or anything. It is the second leading cause of cancer deaths in the United States. Everyone thinks it's lung or breast. It is not. It is a simple little polyp that starts out in your colon, and they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, and I'll pass these around. The doctor snips them off, takes them away, there goes your risk of cancer. There are many different kinds. You can't tell just by the way you feel. If you see blood, do not assume that it is a hemorrhoid, because it may not be. That's what everybody thinks. I just have a hemorrhoid, it'll go away. Don't assume that. We've had people as young as 30 through our program that have stage 4 colon cancer. Each year, nearly 150,000 Americans are diagnosed with it. It is a treatable, beatable cancer if it's caught early. If you wait too long, it's like every other cancer. It metastasizes and spreads somewhere else. Many people refuse to put off the screening because of the PrEP. The PrEP has been really, really improved in this past year. You used to get a big bottle of stuff, and I mean it was this big. If anybody's had the test, put your hand up. You've seen the bottle of stuff. And you're supposed to drink this. While you're drinking it, you're on the commode, going one way and heaving up the other way because it poisons your system. They do have a thing now where you take Gatorade and you mix Miralax in it. It's very, very gentle to your system. You can have it and you don't have accidents. You don't feel like you're going to run to the bathroom every 5 minutes. So it's very doable. If you think of it as one day of inconvenience that could save your life, you must do this. This cancer could be eradicated if people would just be screened. We want you to wear blue on Friday, March 7th. And remember to get your colon screened. And if you think of anything, think preventable, treatable, and beatable. Okay? And I'll pass these around. Just see it, I get them back because it's really good. This is a big blow up of what your colon is. But this shows the polyps and how small they are. And if you get them when they're like this, you don't have this. Once it goes through the wall, it's a done deal. Mm-hmm. There's not much they can do. They resect the whole colon, and then try to fix you up that way, but it's much better to get it like this than like this. Okay? Questions? If you don't have insurance or you just have Medicare and no secondary, we can help you. We pick up the difference, the 20% that Medicare doesn't cover. Okay?
Wonderful.
Okay?
Well, Ms. Diane, we do have a proclamation. Would you join us up here, please?
Sure. It's a good program.
Okay, let's take one step back so that we're right under the... We good? We get her under there, so... Okay. Gentlemen, Ms. Diane, I have this proclamation, Allegheny County Government Proclamation. Whereas colorectal cancer is the second leading cause of cancer deaths in the state of Maryland. And whereas screening is the best method of early detection and prevention of colorectal cancer because colorectal cancer does not usually produce symptoms in its early states. The people can look healthy, feel fine, and not know that they have a problem. And whereas screening is recommended for all individuals 50 and over and individuals under 50 with personal or family risk factors for colorectal cancer. Now, therefore, we, as the County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim March 2014 Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month in Allegany County. We encourage all citizens to become knowledgeable about this disease, discuss colorectal cancer with their healthcare provider, and, if appropriate, seek screening. Go Blue. Signed by all 3 county commissioners in the great county of Allegany County, Maryland. Thank you and congratulations. Awesome. Thank you very much for making us aware.
Sure.
Remind everyone, March the 7th, wear blue. They did it to me again.
Did what, sir?
I don't know. The funny games friends play. Okay, gentlemen, we're going to move into the action agenda period of our meeting. Item number 2 is the 54th Annual Alhambra Catholic Invitational Tournament, ACIT. Gentlemen, we understand that Coach Carter is here. If you would come up, sir, please. Explain what exactly is happening at the ACIT this year.
Yeah, I really appreciate you still calling me Coach. That's been a lot of years ago, but I do appreciate that, and thank God I've gotten out of that business too. First of all, I want to thank all the commissioners for your continued support for our event. It is the 54th annual ACIT, and it's the longest running tournament in the country. So, Allegheny County and our local area should be proud of that. This year we have another outstanding field. 3 of the 8 teams that are coming have been ranked in the top 25 in the nation at some time this year. There's 2 teams from Baltimore, 4 from Washington in the Washington League, 1 from Richmond, Virginia, and of course our host school, Bishop Walsh. The great part about this year's players is that one of them is a McDonald's All-American. Mello Trimble is the boy's name, who will be attending school at the University of Maryland next year. We also have a player that's attending Indiana University, Villanova, Miami. One of the teams, St. John's from Washington, D.C., has 5 Division I players that start for them. So if people want to come out and see great high school basketball, we hope they do, and they come to Frostburg and get to watch that. I think the most amazing part about this year's group is that for the first time, DeMatha only has 5 seniors on their team, and their leading scorer is a freshman. So if you are starting for DeMatha and you're a freshman and you're a leading scorer, we're going to hear a lot about that person in the future. The other one we're bringing back from 2 years ago is Paul VI. They don't start as senior. They only have 1 on their team. And they were ranked as high as 3rd in the nation at one time this year. But the problem is they play in that Washington Catholic League, and that's St. John's, DeMatha, Bishop O'Connell, Paul VI, and they just keep beating each other. So it's tough for them to stay ranked, but without a doubt the toughest conference in the country. So I think they'll be there. They put on a great show for everyone. The tickets are still cheap as heck. I'm not sure you can go to a regular high school game, and you're still going to end up paying about what you pay to get in there to watch. So beginning March 12th The teams will arrive. You'll see them all over the city of Cumberland and everywhere else. They will leave Sunday, March 16th. So they will be here 4 days, and we do a lot to make sure we show off the county, the city, and all the areas. So we're hoping for a little bit better weather than we've had. That way they can at least get out and walk around and see the great place we live in. So, but again, I want to thank you for your continued support and know that it would be difficult to do this without your support.
Commissioners, any questions for the general chairman, Mr. Joe Carter? The former coach.
The former coach.
I'm still going to call him.
That's okay. You can still
I'm
call
still going to
that.
call him coach.
Yeah.
So, and the only question I have,
Be careful, Mr. Carter.
I knew there had to be one.
okay, the only question is,
No,
so
you can't play.
no, I actually was a pretty good basketball player too.
Oh, boy.
And what if we did a 3-on-3 tournament one night or something like that? Maybe I can get 2 other commissioners and we can challenge. It doesn't matter any of the teams.
Well,
Do you realize we'd have to stand on each other's shoulders to get up to the net?
I was not bringing up that you guys were vertically challenged. Okay, I was not bringing that up.
I would. I think that would be great. We're always looking for things to do at halftime.
Okay.
Some of those games. So, if you would like to do that, call me and I'll make sure I'll find 3 people that would want to play here.
We could probably have Mike lay down, and we could bounce off of him and use him as a trampoline.
Well, I'm going to work on 2 other players because I think these guys are busy those times. That's normally how this works out. But anyhow, thank you very much. Gentlemen, I'd like to make the motion that we authorize the county finance office to remit $3,000 budgeted from the community promotions account to support this year's 54th annual ACIT. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner McKay, seconded by Commissioner Valentine. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll see you out there.
All righty.
Okay, gentlemen, item number 3 tonight is a memorandum of agreement for Bald Knob Water Project. Mr. Paul Kale, our Director of Public Works, is to shed some light on this.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
What this is, we're asking permission to sign a memorandum agreement with the Maryland Department of Environment Abandoned Mine Land Division. What this is it's an extension of the Mount Savage water system, which has been going on for a couple of years now. During the course of the project, they approached the county and asked us if we could look at extending that line to the upper limits of the Mount Savage system. They will pay 100%. They'll pay 100% of the construction. They will pay for our time to design it, and they will pay for our time, the county's time, to inspect the line. So right now, the original project was proposed to be $1 million, and right now they can only come up with $500,000, so we're going to do half of the project, but that will include the pump station that will be built to, when we extend the system in the future, we'll have the pressure. We're asking for your approval.
Commissioners, thoughts, comments?
Oh, I know this is a good thing. I assume you're working with Mike Garner on this because, we started this one a couple years ago, actually, when was kind of asking the Bureau of Mines to look to see if they could help when Mount Savage Water was in its infancy. So I'm glad that this is coming to light and pretty quick. So
Yeah, Mike's been, you're well aware that program has been great for Allegany County. The Tacoma Drive Drainage Project we recently completed with the same program, and we've did some projects in Shaft, so it's been a good program, and it's 100% fundable. There's no local match, and it kind of works out well.
Well, I'm glad the Bureau of Mines was able to step up and help these people. So good.
They're a good group to work with, too. Very cooperative.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion, gentlemen, to authorize the Board of County Commissioners to sign the Bureau of Mines Memorandum of Agreement and permit the Department of Public Works to proceed with the design and construction of Bald Knob Water Project near Mount Savage. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Brody, seconded by Commissioner Valentine. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, item number 4 is Resolution 14-5, the retitling Racket Club Road to North Straw Drive, Rawlings. Miss Amy, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
Awesome. Now, Amy Stonebreaker is from our Land Development Services, planner number 2. And how are the kids? The
They're
babies are growing?
Growing fast.
All right, do we have
yes.
some slides?
No.
Come on.
No.
You know how much I love kids.
Yes. You can stop down to my office to see them.
Cool.
See
I'll do
pictures.
that. Anyhow,
All right.
will
She
you
has twins.
Will you get us back to?
It's twins.
All right.
A boy and a girl.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
On behalf of the Office of Land Development Services, I'm here tonight requesting your authorization for the proposed retitling of a road in Rawlings. Stakeholders willfully submitted a street name petition form to the Office of Land Development Services requesting the road currently known as Racket Club Road be retitled to North Star Drive. An interdepartmental review was conducted, and review agents had no objections to the proposal. Staff then recommended to the Chief of Land Development Services to approve the proposal, and staff also recommended to the County Commissioners in a staff report dated February 17, 2014 to also approve the proposal. Stakeholders will be notified of the decision, whether it's favorable or not, by written form. In the event that the outcome is favorable, one address will be modified, and then the county's maps, supporting materials, and databases will be updated accordingly. Any questions?
Okay. Commissioners?
I think it's pretty simple, pretty cut and dry.
All right, gentlemen, I proudly would like to move that we approve resolution number 14-5, the retitling of Racket Club Road to North Star Drive, Rawlings. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner McKay, seconded by Commissioner Valentine. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Eberly, what do we have on our consent agenda this evening?
Commissioners, we have 4 items on your consent agenda for this afternoon. 2 of the items relate to board appointments, one for the Planning Commission, one for the Social Services Board. We have a travel request and a very minor modification to the county's rules and regs related to the grade allocation table.
Okay. Only thing I'm going to add, Commissioners, is that we did have we did contact both Mr. Robinette and Mr. Godfrey, and both are willing and are meeting recommendation by me for this. Gentlemen, I'd like to entertain a motion to accept our consent agenda.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. What is on your desk this evening, sir?
Commissioners, if you'll permit me, I have several items here for your consideration here this evening. We do have, or this week we did process bid openings for the South Cumberland Library and an SUV. We hope to have staff reports back asking for your formal concurrence in a couple of weeks on those 2 projects, and I have several pieces of correspondence I'd like to discuss with you this evening. Commissioners, the first letter for your consideration is House Bill 1067. It's the Motor Fuel Tax and Highway User Fund legislation that was introduced by our delegation. And if you'll permit me to read this into the record.
Please, sir.
We'll do so. The Allegheny County Commissioners would like to take this opportunity to express our support on behalf of House Bill 1067. This legislation seeks to increase the portion of motor fuel tax revenue distributed to the City of Baltimore, counties, and municipalities across the state as a vital source of revenue for local government. As you are no doubt aware, the state of Maryland began sharing motor vehicle-related revenues with its counties and the City of Baltimore in 1927. By 1947, all jurisdictions maintaining public roads in the state received a proportionate share of these funds. As first-term commissioners, we can attest firsthand as to the hardship of the loss of $4.2 million in highway user revenues created for our county. As we have publicly stated, the loss of these funds resulted in a significant reduction of the county's workforce under our board's control and a dramatic change in our approach to maintaining public right-of-ways in our community. As such, our board supports this legislation, and we thank you in advance for your time and thoughtful consideration.
Gentlemen, are we in consensus?
We are, 100%.
Again, Commissioners, this
Go ahead
corres-
and start reading that.
this correspondence that you're signing right now was also one of your primary issues that you discussed with the delegation back in December and has been an ongoing issue for the past several years. Commissioners, the next letter is relates to the Senate Bill 734 and House Bill 747, which is the Renewable Energy Portfolio Standard, or as we have learned of in recent years, this is not the black liquor bill. We are now referring to this as the qualifying biomass legislation. Dear Chairman, on behalf of the citizens of Allegany County, I'm requesting that you and the members of your committee respectfully oppose Senate Bill 734 and House Bill 747, the Renewable Energy Portfolio Standard qualifying biomass. This legislation will result in a negative impact to the New Page Corporation's mill in Luke, Maryland, by excluding the Luke Mill's biomass as a Tier 1 renewable energy source. The Luke Mill has been a responsible corporate citizen in Maryland since 1888. As a major employer and one of the last remaining manufacturers in Western Maryland, the Luke Mill provides good-paying jobs to 825 employees. In addition, the Luke Mill indirectly employs thousands of other individuals who provide the necessary raw materials and support services for the paper-making process. We understand that the Luke Mill was certified by the Maryland Public Service Commission as a renewable energy facility for the Maryland Renewable Energy Portfolio Standard back in 2005. This certification was based on the acceptance of the Luke Mill's biomass as a qualified Tier 1 renewable energy source, which allows the Luke Mill to generate Tier 1 renewable energy credits. The sale of these credits are an important revenue stream for the mill. On behalf of Allegany County and the thousands of individuals directly or indirectly gainfully employed and financially dependent on the Luke Mill, we urge you to consider the dire negative long-term consequences that this legislation will have on the mill and other ancillary businesses in Western Maryland. We respectfully request that your committees render an unfavorable report on Senate Bills 734 and House Bill 747.
Gentlemen, thoughts? We've been pretty
Sign.
consistent
Let's sign.
to support our mill.
Commissioners, I see Stuart Sapsky has joined us this evening, and both of these letters correspond with recent formal action by the Allegany County Chamber of Commerce. Commissioners, if you recall, last month we took formal action to send a letter of support on behalf of Friends of Ware and part of their capital campaign. We had also prepared a letter of support for the Allegany County Animal Shelter Foundation in support of their capital campaign as well. Today I wanted to bring to your attention correspondence that we received from Senator Edwards' office, and this information is being relayed to us by Victoria, who works in his Annapolis office. The senator has asked for two things. He'd like to have letters of support on behalf of both organizations, and he's asked that each one of these letters be submitted by the county to Senator James Ed DeGrange, Sr., who is the chairman of the Capital Budget Subcommittee. He has asked that we do not prioritize these requests. However, the senator has asked that that at some point in time here in the next week to 10 days, we consider prioritizing which request we would think would be the highest priority for Allegany County. So I'll just bring back to your attention the discussion that we had with the delegation last December when we met with them. The only bond bill request that we had on our radar screen at that time, if you'll recall, was for the Animal Shelter Foundation. Shortly before our meeting, there was some public discussion that took place and about a strategy that the Friends of Ware program or Friends of Ware organization was trying to employ a supplemental budget request through the governor's office. And as you're aware now, both the organizations are vying for a limited number of dollars with respect to bond appropriations here in Allegany County. So, being said, I'm looking for some direction with respect to George's last item on his list, and that is whether or not you want to rank these two projects.
Well, first of all, I think we're in consensus because we've shown that we're supportive of both the Animal Shelter and Friends of Ware. So we're in consensus to send those?
Yes.
Okay. As for the ranking, gentlemen, I personally feel that this is state money. This is not Allegheny County money. This is state money. And the delegation has been elected to determine what is the best route for spending that money. And so as for prioritizing them, I just don't think we need to do that. So
Rank them both as number one.
rank them both as number one. They're good projects. So, okay.
Well, Commissioners, if you're okay, I will dispense with reading these letters and
Right.
pass them along for your signature.
Okay.
Matthew, if you need copies of this correspondence, just let me know, and we'll make a few efforts here in the next couple of minutes to get some photocopy.
Okay. Mr. Rudd, is there anything on your desk, please, sir?
I do have something on my desk. 2 weeks ago, actually, February 13th, commissioners did hold an executive session. We're required to give a statement at the next public meeting, which is this one, and that statement is as follows. The Board of County Commissioners at a public work session meeting convened on February 13, 2014 at 3:00 p.m. voted at the close of the open session to go into executive session. The meeting time and place and the purpose of the meeting were provided in a public notice for the work session, provided in the same manner and to the same entities as received notices of all public meetings and public work session meetings. The meeting was closed in accordance with State Government Article Section 10-508 of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and the purposes for which the meeting was closed were as follows. 1, to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice, and that's State Government Article Section 10-508A7. And secondly, to consult with staff or other individuals about pending or threatened litigation, and that's State Government Article Section 10-508A8. Those in attendance for the closed session were Commissioner Michael W. McKay, Commissioner Creed V. Brody Jr., who was present by telephone, Commissioner William R. Valentine, County Attorney William M. Rudd, Assistant County Attorney Barry R. Levin, County Administrator David Everly, Paul Kale, Director of Public Works, and Adam Patterson, County Engineer. Also present was Cindy Young, Recording Secretary. Discussion was held concerning possible litigation by a homeowners group concerning whether the county could or should accept a private road into the county system. Information was provided by staff, and legal counsel was provided by counsel concerning the merits of the claims by the homeowners and steps that might be taken to resolve the matter. After the conclusion of the discussion concerning the possible litigation, the commissioners voted unanimously to adjourn the closed session, and it was adjourned at 3:45 p.m. That's the statement. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you, sir. Commissioners, comments, statements? Commissioner Brody.
Yes, first thing I want is just a little public announcement with the cold weather. Keep an eye on your neighbors. Make sure everyone's okay, and please, when it gets cold, leave your water run a little bit. And what made me think of that is the other day I was at a lady's house through my work, and she said, you know, I'm not sure if you didn't stop and check on me, if anybody would. And that got me thinking. And what really got me thinking is I'd like to recognize somebody that's here tonight that after 37 years of service with LaVale Sanitary Commission has decided to retire and is recently retired. And he has been an excellent role model for me and everybody that's been involved with him. He's been in the fire service for 45 years plus. So, Russell Hensel, sir, this evening is your evening. You've been an excellent role model, and it was through it's what made me think of this tonight, because that lady always said that if nothing else, she knew Rusty would come around. It was outside of his job, and it was nothing he had to do, but he did it. So please, people, keep an eye on your neighbors, especially this time of the year, and for goodness sakes, when it drops below freezing, let your water run just a little bit. So that's all I have tonight, sir.
That's some good stuff, sir. Commissioner Valentine.
I'd like to congratulate Rusty, too. I've known him since neither one of us had any gray hair, so that's been a little while now. The other thing is, Mr. Eberly mentioned the battle we've got going trying to get highway user funds restored to the counties. I testified at a Senate hearing last week, and I think that hearing went extremely well. I don't think that the senators realized what a predicament they put the counties in. Here in Allegheny County, before the cuts, we would receive approximately $4 million a year to help maintain the county roads in Allegheny County. Right now, we get $400,000, which gives us about $700 per mile to maintain our roads, which isn't enough to do anything. The cost of blacktopping is about $150,000 a mile. So you could see we don't even have the money to blacktop 2.5 miles of road coming from the state. The sad thing about this is the highway user funds are generated by gasoline tax. And it always was that the taxes would be collected in the counties, would go to the state would take their little cut out of it, and then those funds would be returned to the counties where that money was generated. And I guarantee you that people in Allegheny County per capita pay every bit as much gasoline tax as what the people in Prince George's County and Montgomery County do. But the governors decided they need mass transit more than they need properly maintained county roads. And to me, this is actually a safety feature. If we can't maintain our roads in proper shape, it's dangerous for our citizens to travel. So I'll be going back to Annapolis next Tuesday to testify at the House hearing. Like I say, I think we definitely had the ear of the Senate committee. Hopefully we can get the same sort of reaction from the House committee. The only people who testified against the bill was the Maryland Department of Transportation. But at the end of the Senate hearing, the chairman of that committee looked at the Secretary of the Maryland Department of Transportation and said flat out, get these people some money back to the counties. So hopefully we get the same statement made in the House committee.
Good. Gentlemen, just to remind the public that our calendar in review is always available on the web, so you can see where your commissioners, who they've been meeting with, and complete transparency. And also, if you go on the web, you can see the latest commissioners chat, where I interviewed Dr. Jonathan Gibraltar, president of Frostburg State University, and all the neat, good economic development things that are happening up there at the university. So please go on the web or just go onto YouTube and type in Commissioners Chat, Allegheny County, and you'll be able to watch that presentation. Okay, gentlemen, moving into our constituents, we have 3 that have signed up today. Mr. Wilmont, looks like you're first. As a reminder, if you would introduce who you are and give your address for the record.
Yes, I'm Kenneth Wilmot. I live at 513 Fort Avenue, Cumberland, Maryland. I'm here to speak on the legalization of pot. I never in my life dreamed at the age of 78 that I would see people wanting to legalize a drug that fries your brain. It is, I hope that all you people up front and you people here stand up, speak up, and refuse to sit down against this stuff. I'm 78 years old. I've never drank in my life, never smoked in my life, never did drugs. I've never taken an aspirin or a painkiller. You don't need it. I get high on my family and my church and my friends. Now then, I've been waiting. I've only seen one person in the county so far speak up against legalization of pot, and that's our good sheriff. He's so far, I'm backing him 110,000%. He has the backbone and the fortitude to stand up what is really right. Pot doesn't cure anything. All it does is fry your brain. These people are already addicts, and then they want us to pay for them to become a deeper addict. We already have programs for alcohol. That's our responsibility to cure these people. Drugs, same way. Now then, let's go to alcohol. The human body has zero tolerance for alcohol. The minute you drink a drink or whatever, it affects your brain. Alcohol rots out your liver and your kidneys. Next, tobacco. Tobacco, it wrecks your lungs. Everybody knows it. Secondhand smoke, even worse than smoking. Then we come to the hard drugs, heroin, crack, meth, all this stuff. Just read the papers and you can see what law enforcement has to deal with. And we're being forced to live with these people. In my neighborhood, same thing. Every neighborhood in Cumberland is affected by drugs, alcohol, and whatever. We're the poorest county in the state. We need to get rid of all these drugs and alcohol and all this stuff out of our life. It is not good for our nation or our country. Okay, let's say they do legalize pot. Why don't we just go and legalize everything? People say, well, it's my right to do what I want on my own property. But the thing is, it doesn't stay on their property. It becomes our job, the taxpayer, to rehabilitate these people. You can't rehabilitate an addict. Once their brain is fried, there's no way you can go in there and sew it back together. It's gone. We need to take a hard stand against this legalization. I hope and pray that you people who run this county, especially this end of it, immediately put out a law that says not one single weed, a pot, is to be grown in Allegany County. They want to say, oh, we can have 6. Well, who's going to go out and inspect for who's got 6 plants in their house? Nobody. And if they charge $50 an ounce, where are these people that's addicted? Where are they going to get the money? The same way they're doing it now. They're robbing their homes. You're being mugged. They're stealing, even going in and steal the copper wire out of your house. Some people are even home when they do it. They don't even know it. So let's get with the problem. We need somebody to speak up for this and say, hey, we don't want all your addicts. We don't want pot. We want peace and quiet in our neighborhoods. We want safe neighborhoods where people can get out and walk without having to worry about getting mugged. So that's about all I got to say. But I hope and pray that you guys get on the stick and say, hey, no way are you going to force pot down our throat in Allegany County. We have a beautiful county. I'm 78 years old. I probably walked 90% of it in my youth. And it needs to stay that way. As a senior citizen, we leave this world, we're supposed to leave it in a better shape than when we left, when we were here. I've got more miles behind me than I got in front of me. But as long as I'm able to stand, I'm going to speak up. And I hope the rest of the senior citizens do the same. And when I get done here, the rest of the people get done speaking, could we have a little something what your feelings are from the commissioners? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilmot. All right. Next, Miss Mary Miltenberger.
Mary Miltenberger, 514 Valentine Avenue. I'm here representing the Tea Party on the 5th anniversary of the founding of the Tea Party, and we've had one in this county since that very first year. Now, on March 16th, we are having an event at the Woodman of the World on Virginia Avenue, And we are inviting all the Republican and Libertarian, et cetera, candidates for governor to come and speak to the people of this county. It's a meet and greet between 2 and 4 in the afternoon. It's a Sunday afternoon. So I hope that you gentlemen will be able to come. Now, the next thing that I want to bring up is that I've just learned, since I started to prepare to run for mayor of Cumberland, I have been doing a lot of research, and I've been particularly disturbed about the whole thing about Canal Place and the Footer Building and all the historic stuff to begin with. And so I've become aware of the fact that the hotel-motel tax is getting to be a significant number. In the past year, 1.2 million. So in looking at each one of the breakdowns of the way the money is being spent, I noticed an item that I was shocked about, and it was called the debt of the Rocky Gap. And so what I'm here today is to ask you to explain to the public, how did we end up with still having a debt on Rocky Gap after it's already been sold to a private enterprise?
The easiest answer to that, Mary, is the county was not part of the discussion when the state negotiated with someone to buy that lodge.
And why was that?
Because it was state-owned, and it was negotiations between the state and the developer.
But we had a debt on it.
Correct.
We still do.
We still do have
We
debt.
still do. And
Correct.
I mean, that's unconscionable.
Correct.
And there was no effort on the part of the county to really make this public and to make it an issue so we could embarrass the state into making it right?
I don't think you'd embarrass the state. In fact, they asked the county to put another $2 million into the pot to try to close the deal with the developer, and we told them, sorry, we already gave it the office.
I was actually summoned by the Lottery Commission chairman to talk about that, and we met in Frederick County, and they asked us to put another $2 million into the project because the bondholders were all being made whole. The state of Maryland was fine with the loss, and I told them that Allegheny County taxpayers were not going to put another dime into Rocky Gap. We're done. We were left holding the bag, and
So how much do we still owe?
Jay, we originally, the original bond amount was about $4,995,000. The county was required back during the development phase of that project to contribute 10%. 10% of the total development cost for both the lodge and the golf course.
Yeah.
At that point in time, I think the project cost for about $40 million for everything from the lodge and the golf course. And the county has, I think that bond bill, Jason, we issued it initially back in 96, and then it'll be paid off in 17. So we have about 3 years to go on paying that debt service.
so
I just find it unconscionable that a thing like this could happen, and the public in this county didn't even realize what was happening to them.
well, any of those bond bills that were back in the previous administration back in '96 were in the meetings.
Well, I know
And-
that.
and
I
so
mean, I'm not
to-
arguing that point.
to stretch that out,
The point
but,
I'm arguing is, how can the state just ignore our debt and let us hang with it and make a deal to sell? They sold the building out from under us. We have no
We had
equity.
the debt. Well, we had the debt, but we didn't have any equity either.
That's right.
So-
well, what do you mean you didn't have equity?
We never had equity in Rocky Gap. We did not. The county did not own
Or
Right.
have any
We had-
ownership.
we had-
ownership
There
whatsoever.
was no deed, we had no interest whatsoever.
So
That
to bring
is
it
just-
back to hotel motel tax,
Yes.
what we have tried to do at the county is to make sure that all hotel motel tax goes to be spent on tourism. That's where the generator was. And I won't be here in 2017, but it'll be my recommendation that when those funds are finally paid off, that the Board of Commissioners, whoever they are, make sure that that payment, and what is that payment?
Approximately 400,000 a year.
Will go into tourism.
How much is it a year?
Approximately 400,000.
400,000 a year?
Yes. Well, that'll be my recommendation as a taxpayer in Allegheny County sitting on that side, is to make sure that that goes back into tourism where it should have been in the first place. But you're exactly correct, Mary. It's a shame.
It's a terrible shame.
But-
It's a mismanagement all along the way.
So-
And no wonder the people get upset. And no wonder there's things like tea parties
Well,
that spring up because they can't stand the deals that get made behind your back.
At the end of the day, as they asked for $2 million, I said absolutely not.
Well, I'm glad you stood your ground on that. But something should have been done. I mean, it's like having a house with 2 mortgages on it, and you sell it, and it only pays off 1 mortgage, and you're left with the second one, and you have no house.
Well, we didn't have the house to begin with.
Well,
And that's
the issue, too.
I can't.
That's what it started.
My leverage on that was I had no leverage.
The only good thing about it is that facility is now in private hands, and the county is finally getting income. Before, we got no income from Rocky Gap.
Yeah.
We now do get hotel motel tax. We do have a pilot program because there was no property tax on it before. Now we have a pilot program where we're getting taxes. So we are starting to get some return on our investment.
From 96.
So how much, do you know how much hotel motel you got from Rocky Gap last year?
I don't have that number. I can probably get that number to you, but we'll be glad to get that number for you. I don't have the number.
Yeah, I'd like to know how much of
Certainly.
it is
Jason,
spent.
would you take care of that? Thank you. Yep.
Okay,
No, if anything, we're headed in the right direction.
good. I just want to commend Mr. Wilmot for his remarks, and I'm a wellness consultant, and I will tell you, pot is so much more dangerous than they tell you it is. When you smoke 1 joint, just 1, it's in your brain for 30 days. A negative force in your brain for 30 days. And if you're smoking it all the time, your brain can't recover from it.
But the only good thing about the discussion in Annapolis on that subject right now is the thinking is there will be no law passed dealing with pot this year because, number one, it's an election year.
Next year.
Number 2, well, that's what really has to be looked at. The 3 Democrat candidates for governor have all come out with their thinking on the marijuana issue. Delegate Mazur, she wants to decriminalize pot.
Of course.
Across the board. Attorney General Gansler wants it to be a Colorado type deal, just throw everything open. And then Lieutenant Governor Brown says he feels that something needs to be done, but he wants to wait and see how things go in Colorado. And then I think his thinking is he might model whatever he does on Colorado. I don't know that any of the Republican candidates have come forth with.
Yes,
their
Charles
thoughts on
Lawler. Charles Lawler's against it. He understands the damage.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Miss Jen Klinger. Certainly.
First time I've ever been to a commissioners meeting. Just to look over later, it's not necessary to look over.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, I'm Jen Klingler from Creative Catering, which also trades as Sunflower Catering. And I actually came today. My original purpose was a very, very simple statement regarding the Scenic Railroad. I was the caterer for the year, the excursion year 2013. And we recently were informed we did not get the contract this year. And my original purpose to come today was, the contract was awarded to a company out of Augusta, West Virginia. And in the letter I received from the railroad, they said they had much interest in the catering program. So I'd like to think that they probably had others. I will first state that obviously I'm bitter over not getting the job. I'm upset. This is by no means about getting it back. I need to state that up front, absolutely up front. And my statement to the public, again, was I'm upset that it was awarded to a company out of Augusta, West Virginia. In the letter, the facts I gave you guys, during my tenure with the railroad, which was only 1 year, I employed 18 part-time employees, and we paid $61,000 in wages to just railroad employees, not any other of my catering. Everyone but one person was an Allegheny County resident. That money now is in Augusta, West Virginia. So that was my reason for coming here today. But since I've arrived, Commissioner Valentine gave me this, which was almost a rebuttal from the Commissioner, Mike Grisham, from the railroad. I posted a Facebook post. I hosted a holiday promotional train at my expense in September, I believe it was, for no other reason than to get the local politicians on board, get everybody excited about the railroad, and try to start promoting holiday parties, have people have their parties on the train. Business for me, business for the railroad. All my idea, I worked it all up, so the cost I incurred was no one's fault but my own. But I genuinely believed at that time I'd be there for a while, I really did. Our staff did a fantastic job. I asked those to be passed around. It's just a picture of our staff from the railroad and some pictures from the promotional train. I was very, very, very shocked to find out. I had a friend who knows somebody on the board said, why didn't you let us know, this is coming up for bid? And I genuinely said, I really thought we would have the job. I mean, we just did a great job. My staff was all mostly professionals or teachers and x-ray techs and other people that work part-time. Really was relying on this year. However, again, that's irrelevant at this point. But I found out today some interesting information, which I never would have brought up at this meeting. Absolutely not. I was going to speak my piece and leave. This bill is absurd. This is absolutely absurd. I was late nearly 30% of the time. I mean, this is absurd. I'd like you not to look into it. It doesn't matter, but this is crazy. It just is, especially 20 to 30 minutes. I can tell you right now, a first-class excursion never left late because of us. This was our first year catering the Scenic Railroad. There's a lot of logistics involved in taking food over to the Ridgely shop. That's where you load, over there. A locomotive that is constantly moving back and forth. You're flagging people down to get on. Many times they ask us to wait. You go, hey, we have to hook up this car to that car. An enormous amount of logistics involved. And as it states in here, I've catered the Fireman's Bash for the last 6 years. 7.5 tons of food in 6 hours we serve. We prepare it, 42 people serve it. Obviously, I can handle, volume. This was a different animal, and I approached it as such. And in letters corresponding with the superintendent over the months have said, we're just working to improve. We're learning every day. And I will get these emails to the right people. But I feel this is very slanderous, what he said about me. Ridiculously slanderous. Obscene gestures, things like this, saying that I changed my staff. None of the things that Mike Grisham said on this, absolutely none of this, a single item is true. And now I'm very angry now. And there's a lot of things that happened on that railroad, inappropriate things that now I would have never. I worked food service for 25 years, and you have to have thick skin when you work food service. Very thick skin. I mean, when you work with certain people, there's all kind of jokes and things, and I've always been the kind of girl to, just go with the flow and whatever. And that's my staff. These people worked with me on and off for probably 20 years, and we could joke and carry on and have a great time. And I would never have dreamed of bringing anything up of things that happened on that train that were inappropriate. But after reading this, I think things could change tomorrow. I'm not quite sure. I have to go home and sleep on this and decide how far I really want to take this. But this is slanderous. And back to my point, I'm a taxpayer. My mother and my sister are taxpayers. This contract should not have been awarded out of the county. There are plenty of food service providers, and even the state of Maryland, at least some of the money went back to our state. Augusta, West Virginia. And again, I found out, I spoke to Donna Corley, who was fired from the railroad within a month or so of the new superintendent taking his post. And again, made some nasty remarks about her. Very unprofessional, very super unprofessional. I found out today, I made a phone call to Greta's Kitchen, the new caterer. And I will tell the truth, I made it under false pretense. I got her on the phone after speaking to Ms. Corley this morning and found out that they've been working with Greta's Kitchen all year long. We were not going to get this contract again. This woman knew in August she was going to be hired this year. She knew she was going to be hired. This was a farce, even putting it out for bid. There are other people that know this, but this came right out of the woman's mouth, not knowing she was speaking to the past caterer. So for that reason, I'm upset that I spent thousands in equipment and uniforms and everything else to make this just us be the best contractor that the railroad ever had. I never had a chance to get this job. I know that, again, I don't want anything done about it. I just needed to say it out loud. I was railroaded, for lack of a better word. Oh, sorry, and I'm emotional. I'm very emotional over this. Our family loved that railroad. You guys saw what we did. Okay. My mother and her sisters decorated the train. We did that all out of passion and love for the railroad. And this out-of-towner from Colorado has, I don't know. I wish you guys luck. I will miss it very deeply, very deeply. So.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Please, Mr. Wilmot.
What? You made a bid, right?
Yes, sir, I did.
What was your bid?
We bid per entree. We bid $11. Last year was $11.50. $11.50 for a first-class lunch. And that's not like going to a restaurant. That's having your staff come in from Bedford Road. We would get on the train. If I could follow that up, we start at 8 a.m. We get off that train at 4:45 in the Ridgely Station. Like I said, it's not you coming in and sitting down and having lunch. It's a lot of logistics involved. Anyway, last year we bid $11.50. We raised our price $1.50 per head this year, and we lowered our murder mystery price. Lowered it because I thought it was too much. Believe it or not, they were paying us too much. We lowered it at $1 a head.
What was the Augusta bid?
We have no idea.
You've been made public.
Yeah, I honestly have.
It's a private bid.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who owns the railroad? That was going to be my original first question when I came here today, and now I'm all shook up over this. So, who technically owns?
Mr. Eberly.
The Western Maryland Scenic Railroad is a nonprofit organization that has leased the assets from Allegany County. So it is a separate standalone private organization.
Okay, during some Google research, I saw a Western Maryland Scenic Railroad Corporation from years before, and it was actually based in West Virginia. So I just, I'm kind of prepared for the superintendent to say, well, the shop's in West Virginia, so that gives us the right to, hire a West Virginia outfit. It's over for me, just so you guys know. Like I said, I'm upset over this, but I'll get over it too. I mean, you've never seen me here before because we don't raise trouble. We, go along, do our business, pay taxes, and that's fine. But this was very unfair, what happened here, It was very unfair. So I hope I answered your question, sir. Do you guys have any questions?
Well, I was just going to make a statement that when you invited us to come, I had a delightful time and had a great. I had no problems. It was, anyhow, I appreciate it.
And just to let you know that I had no agenda. the newspaper asked to do a story on it. They asked me, and I was very nervous. I said, well, let's see how it goes, not at this time. I didn't want any publicity, didn't want anything. Wanted to get you guys all on board, Dave, Nicole, everybody, and start talking about the railroad, sharing the railroad, Ridership is down, and I know that because when we very first started this season, we needed 100 people on the train to break even, 100 passengers to break even on first class. The first, I'm going to say, and it's a guess, but I'm going to say 7, 8 trains had 50, 60 people on them. When I made my original bid, I told Donna Corley, she said I was the first person that ever said it, I knew we'd lose money in the beginning, but I knew we'd make it in October. I operated under that pretense. I knew how things were going to unfold. But it was because of those low ridership numbers that got me wanting to, maybe I went too far. Maybe I was some threat somehow by just not being a caterer. I was proactive. I still am. My father watches, I'm getting emotional. My dad goes and watches the steam engine pull out every day, doesn't he? Every day. He goes down, he sits, and he would wave. So, railroaded. Sorry, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jen.
You did good, Jen.
Okay, I'd like to remind everyone that our next public business meeting will be Thursday, March the 13th, 2014 at 5 o'clock right here in room 100. Please, for everyone to see the announcement of the Braddock Run Sanitary District Sewer Projects public hearing.
Are you going to give us your opinion on legalization of marijuana?
Oh, I'm 100% against it, sir. I thought that was a given.
Consensus?
Oh, absolutely. I'm without getting into this too deep, I can't even believe that this is even being discussed and wasted any time in Annapolis over such an issue. But
the thing is, we got to speak up, otherwise these people down there are going to say
well, the people that you need to talk to is our delegation, and express to them. And
if we could make a law for Allegany County, no marijuana recreational use, no plants could be grown in Allegany County, that would put a stop to a lot of
right. Unfortunately, from a legal standpoint, we wouldn't have a stand on that. I will pass that on to the delegation, sir. But for us to pass a law here in Allegany County would not fly if the state of Maryland decides to legalize it. So.
I guess it's like gay marriage, and anything we say doesn't go. That's right.
Well, anyhow.
Dan has some more tape.
I'm not close enough to kick him. Go ahead.
Jeez. Anyhow, all right. What is important is to remind everyone about our fiscal year 2015 budget schedule. There has been some changes, and please look to the news release for that. Thank you very much for participating in your government, and we hope you have a nice day. Thank you.